have been destroyed in the past 50 years.
Well, I had heard something to that effect.
Where are they all going?
Well, at least one is in that fireplace then.
No time for jokes, Watson. These numbers are staggering. 1 million trees every 3 hours get destroyed. Something is afoot. We must investigate.
Right.
We should ask some people what's going on. Onward!
I probably don't know who's taking them. Probably us. And this developed world does suggest mainly from the rainforest and places like that.
Some of the farmers are cutting down the trees so they can farm land and things like that.
Illegal loggers. I know a lot of the rainforests in Brazil are getting chopped down, but I don't know. I guess they're selling on the trees. I don't know. I don't know what for exactly, but maybe you can tell me.
Do I know who's taking them?
No, I don't know. It's a mystery, isn't it? I mean, we need to get to the bottom of it, don't we?
Yeah,
That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, if you guys, you're our best hope, to be honest.
Have you got any clues? No.
Not really.
Well, we'll do our best to help you.
Everybody, the world.
Power-hungry companies.
Do you know who is taking them?
Well, I think it's probably big corporations who are cutting them down for things like grazing cattle and taking hardwoods out for furniture making and things like that.
That's a lot of land.
Do you think that is too much?
Yes, I definitely think it's too much.
No, that's news to me. Yes.
Do you think that's too much?
Yes, it is. Much too much.
No.
No, I didn't know that.
Do you think that is too much?
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's too much.
Me too.
It's going way too fast. And
Gosh, that's horrible, isn't it?
wow. No. Where did it go?
I don't know.
Do you think that's too much?
Yes, definitely. Absolutely.
Really? Wow. The size of this meadows. Which is
That's
like
a
10
lot.
football fields.
I know, it's huge.
It's quite surprising that deforestation causes more emissions and pollution than cars. Because we always hear about you should walk and cycle, and it's always in the news and campaigning against CO2 from cars and things, but not so much about deforestation, I think.
And trees are really important, and each time you cut a tree down, it sort of has a double impact in terms of it doesn't take away the carbon dioxide, it doesn't hold the soil together, so it just kind of trips on further and further, whereas a car isn't great, but it only has the one impact.
That does surprise me. It really, really does. I didn't know that. It's such an interesting fact. I actually studied environmental legislation in my years in my law degree, and I'd never heard of that. That is
You didn't study hard enough.
I didn't study hard enough, but that is a very, very good point. I'll take that on board.
I didn't know that, Dr. Watson, at all. So that's not only are they chopping down trees, but they're also releasing chemicals into the air because they're chopping down trees. So it's almost twice as bad. That's crazy. I didn't know that at all.
Does that surprise you?
Absolutely. Yep, it does.
Well, my dear Watson, it appears that people are aware of this phenomenon, but had no idea about the scale of the problem.
Quite. Perhaps we should ask an expert.
Yes, I hear you, Watson, but nobody knows what to do. Perhaps we should ask an expert or two.
That would be an idea.
Onward!
There's lots of concern about the current state of the environment, climate change being probably the most obvious example. And we, like many people, are very concerned about that. There's lots of very good research going on to try to help explain exactly what's happening and what we can do about it. I think my take would be that we need to concentrate more on what we can do about it.
Many threatened tribal peoples live in forests. Many of them live in tropical forests. So the forest provides everything. It provides the fruits they eat. It provides the environment for the animals that they hunt and eat. It provides their building materials. In their minds, there's no disassociation between the forest and the world. They see the world as the forest.
One of the big things that we do is uncovering the amazing potential of trees. The fact that trees actually provide environmental protection, but they also provide an income, they provide security for food, for people to actually be able to eat, as well as sort of being very positive for biodiversity and things like that.
Okay, my name's Robert Aldridge and I'm the environment leader on the City of Edinburgh Council, which means I've got responsibility for all of the environmental issues that the council has to deal with, from our parks, our trees, to recycling, to reducing the amount of waste we produce, just a whole range of issues.
Forestry Commission is actually the largest landowner in Scotland, and we manage forests from as far north as Caithness and Sutherland, right the way down through the borders, down into southwest Galloway, and a whole range of sites right the way through Scotland.
The deforestation problem is partly a result of the Western world greed for resources.
Globally, of course, we have a different set of problems now. The problems aren't localised, they're not regionalised, they're global. And the forestry that's out there is recognised as the lungs of the world and something we need to look after for many, many different reasons.
I think that for the people that we work with in Africa, trees mean life, quite simply. And even when people cut trees, they know that that actually is a problem.
So once the trees are cut down, the forest is cleared, all you get is very poor soil. That might be fine for gold mining or oil exploration and oil drilling, but it's useless really at providing much food for anybody. The forest won't grow back. If the area cut down is big enough, the forest simply will not come back ever.
Every time you boil a kettle of water, right, a litre of water, you need this amount of timber to soak up those emissions that are generated.
I think a lot of people, when they hear terms like we must save the environment, think, oh, it's far too big for me to do anything about. But it is true that everybody can make a contribution and make a real difference.
One thing I think is really important that everybody can do is go and get to know their local woodland and go and enjoy trees. They're beautiful things, they're fantastic things. There's such a sort of connection on so many levels that we have with trees.
Well, you might not know this, but half of Scotland's population actually live within 2 miles of a woodland. Now, having that woodland there, I think we all know that just actually being in a woodland perhaps gives us that sort of sense of well-being and feeling good about ourselves.
And if you look at European fairy stories and old stories, then of course forests figure extremely prominently, and they in many ways forests are part of the human soul.
And I think there's a sense that remains a very important connection, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, as well as of course the physical sense, trees becoming the lungs of the world. And I think it's very important that we maintain that connection.
What are you doing, Holmes?
Well, my dear Watson, I'm trying to find out what makes a tree so special to people. to deduce what all the fuss is about.
Would it not be easier, Martin Holmes, to ask someone?
There's no clues here. Perhaps we should ask someone. Onward!
Tell you a story about a tree. I don't have a pet tree, unfortunately. I wish I had. I've got one in my garden. I'm going to go back and see if I can speak to it when I get home, but I don't have a story just now.
Well, my wife had a huge tree outside the place she lived when she was a child. It's a great big redwood tree, and it was planted by Queen Victoria. And it's still there, and it's one of the very few that are around that place now.
A tree? There's a tree in our back garden. Apart from that, no, not really.
It's a story about a tree.
Good luck.
Back when I was about 7 years old, there was the biggest tree that you can imagine. Probably the size of that building right over there. Okay, it's a big, big tree. And I climbed halfway to the top, nearly fell down. But my brother over here, he helped me. And we went home. And my mum wasn't very happy about us climbing trees. She goes, trees are there to be looked at, not to be climbed on. So
I once climbed a tree when I was a very little girl and got stuck. And it was so high that my dad had to climb the tree and get me out of it.
How high?
Higher than a house. And I got stuck at the very top.
Is it not as high as that?
Like this high?
It probably was, yes.
Like that high, Mummy?
Yes.
Well, when Freya was born, we had a little tree that started from an acorn. This little oak tree that our friend gave her when she was born, and it's grown up as she's grown up, and it's a bit taller than you, isn't it? Now, and we're going to go and plant it in the countryside when we can.
I think everybody enjoys walking in forests. I particularly like forests where there's more than one kind of tree. Going through pine trees is okay, but there's not a lot of life at the bottom of that.
If you go to the forest in the daytime, I think it's quite cool. You see lots of animals, different types of animals.
Calm and relaxed and
free.
Free, yeah.
I feel really special. It's really nice to be under the trees and see all the nature around you. We live in London, and there's a big park called Richmond Park by us, and there are lots of trees. You can walk through it. There are deer. It's really nice.
Oh, it's great, lovely, smashing.
I like forests.
Smells very nice.
I like
just
the
feel really close to nature.
And the coolness of it all. And there's so many different forests. You get forests in hot countries where it's really nice because you're in the shade and it's kind of cool. And then you get forests in cold places where it's nice because it keeps the rain off you and stuff. So, yeah, forests are great.
Happy, I think. Always happy because it's my memory of being on holidays and things like that because I don't do it very often around here.
I think it helps you feel more calm and puts you in touch with the seasons, and I think you feel a whole lot better than you do when you're walking around town.
I think it's really magical.
I got hit in the eye once by a tree accidentally, so sometimes I have to watch myself when I'm going around the forest these days, like this. So, but apart from that, I really like it as well.
No,
That's what I was saying, we really love the meadows, and I mean, it's mainly for the trees and things that we like the meadows, so.
Yes.
Well, Watson, it appears that this case cannot be solved by myself alone.
Us, you mean?
Exactly, Watson. I've cracked it. Us. It must be all of us, Watson. We must all solve this case. Together.
At the end of the day, it's the public who decide everything that's going to happen. And although an individual can feel very powerless, in fact, individuals working together can achieve an enormous amount.
I think sometimes people think that the problems of deforestation and trees disappearing is actually something people can't do anything about. And I think it's a hopeless cause. This is possible. It is possible to regreen. It is possible to replant. It is possible to change.
And the people who are inheriting the earth are obviously the children. And what kind of world are we creating for them? And what kind of world will they create for their children, their grandchildren?
Look, the environment is important to us all. It's worldwide. It affects loads of species. It affects everybody. And if we can do our bit, whether it's by reducing the amount of energy we use, reducing the waste we produce, recycling what we can recycle, valuing our trees, investing in a really pleasant environment for the future, then we all have something to gain. If we don't do it, we've all got a lot to lose.